Keep waving.
Hey everybody, I got kind of a different type of vlog today. While I was down at the Board Game Geek convention, a group of us decided to jet over to the new Warhammer Citadel cafe it's probably a couple of miles from the airport where the Board Game Geek convention was at. It's in Grapevine, Texas there, just right outside Dallas. And so we jumped over there on the Friday. And we had made arrangements with a couple of folks there at Games Workshop and Mick Burns, who runs the Citadel over there. And they were more than hospitable for us, allowing us to take some video and pictures. And we got a bunch of games of Kill Team in and just kind of had a great day there. And really just had a fantastic, amazing time. So they were awesome enough to let me just record video of everything. So I'm just going to kind of give you sort of a tour of the Warhammer Citadel. Now, one of the neat things about it as we enter here is it's the second largest kind of Warhammer place in the world. Obviously, it's not as big as Warhammer World over in Nottingham in the UK, but it's quite massive, and it's basically like a combination game store, event place, and cafe. As you can see here, as you walk in, there's just tons of product everywhere, and everything that you can want. They've got Forge World, they've got Black Library, and we came in right as the doors opened at 11 on Friday and just got a nice tour of everything. So as you walk in, you're sort of presented with kind of like introduces you to the whole hobby as you walk in. You can see there's Archeon, one of the cool models you can build. It shows you there's cases everywhere of painted models. I'll show you some really cool stuff here as we move along. But it kind of just leads you into the hobby. And then over on the left, we have here, I've seen these setups here at conventions like at Gen Con. So here's kind of an Age of Sigmar Soul Wars box set, all painted up with some cool terrain and scenery, a nice backdrop. So you can come here and learn to play Age of Sigmar and get into that. And then next to it is the Dark Imperium stuff. And if you wanted to learn to play 40K, then you can do that. And they've got all this stuff painted up, these cool little tables, and somebody could be there to teach you the game and walk you and a friend through and play all that stuff. So this is a cool setup. I've seen them have these kinds of tables set up at conventions. So it's really cool. And then of course, right next to it, they have all of those kind of beginner products, the Soul Wars, Tempest of Souls, and then, the different little boxes and stuff for 40K and all that kind of stuff. So they can jump you right in and get you going. And then of course they have this, it's Warhammer Citadel, so it's gonna be this massive wall of I think it's like every product for Age of Sigmar. They got all the battle tomes, all the 40K stuff, all of the codexes and all that stuff, a little bit of Kill Team. And then we're going to take a look. Here's one of the tables. This is the cool thing about it. So all the tables are obviously all GW terrain and stuff, but they really have done a cool job on converting and building really interesting thematic tables. So there's two in the front here, and the one you're looking at now is obviously a 40K kind of thing with a lot of the Mechanicus terrain. And then over onto the side, there's a kind of an Age of Sigmar table. This is a very nurgly looking table. And there's one thing here I'm going to show you. It's a really neat thing. So this main centerpiece you can see there, I think this is a couple of Dragon Fate daises kind of combined with some nurgles. You can see that bell there. And then there's one of those, I can't remember the name of those nurgly trees, the fetid something or other. So combine this, and then at the top here, you're going to see a realm gate. So it's like a Nurgle-infested realm gate, which is really just a cool piece of terrain. And this is throughout the store and all the tables. So that's really cool. So you can play in these great, amazing tables. And like I said, there's 15 of them, so they can have a decent-sized tournament here. And then one cool little feature, see up on top of the ceiling here, right below the ceiling, they have all of these old starter boxes for Warhammer and for Fantasy and 40K, And so this kind of a neat kind of walk through history. You can see the old box sets and stuff. And there's just a ton of them here in the front room. And they even have some of the old boxed games and stuff. And I recognize almost none of this. No, I've only been in the hobby for a little bit. But this is just kind of a cool thing, a little walk through memory lane. There's the Dark Vengeance box. I recognize that one. But yeah, so this is kind of a neat thing. And they've got stuff kind of all over the building here like this, which I'm just going to show you every nook and cranny of the building, just to give you a sense. There's the Gorka Morka box. And then over here, this is something I had a lot of interest in recently, is the Black Library stuff. They've got like so much Black Library selections here. All 40K, Age of Sigmar. They've got a lot of the collector's editions all boxed up and numbered. You can get after all that stuff. One thing that was interesting is these mugs that I'm showing. I guess they are exclusive for now to the Warhammer Citadel. They don't carry them currently at this place in the UK. So if you want to get those, then you gotta come here. And here you can see some of the audio stuff, the Black Library. I was actually curious if they had the new the Gundrick Gundenson, or not Gundrick, Gortrek Gundenson. But they said they had sold out. You can see some Warhammer Champions. They got some of the new novella books and stuff. And I was pretty excited because I actually picked up a book called Nagash the Undying, which they had the collector's editions of. But I just wanted like the basic book, which you can't find anywhere. Just that basic, hardcover that they initially came out with. And they actually had one left. And I was like, bam. I was like, I've been wanting to read this, but I can't find it. So I was very happy to pick that up. Now this next thing I'm going to show you is pretty cool. They've got this chessboard where they've just, I guess, primed some white pieces and some black pieces and glued them onto stands. And if you want to sit down and play like 40K or Warhammer chess, you can. And they also have like a checkers board in the cafe and stuff, which I didn't really get a good view of. But this is neat. It's just a cool little thing. If you want to sit down and play chess and, play with these different, Imperium figures and stuff, it's just a cool little thing that they got. Now over here on this wall is all of like their specialty games. So Warhammer Underworlds, some of the board games like Deathwatch Overkill. They've got Silver Tower and the Warhammer Quest stuff over here, Blood Bowl, and all that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff that they support with Forge World. So moving across all the paints, you can see, oh, here we go. We've got all this Forge World stuff. And here's some of the new Orc releases that we're looking at. And so you can't get Forge World unless you order it from the website, or at least you haven't been able to. But if you're in the area, you can come pick up some of the Imperial armors for the new 40K, some of the Horus Heresy stuff for the 30K, the different red books and the narrative books, and all that kind of cool stuff, as well as a bunch of the Forge World models. I actually picked up for my Chaos Dwarves army. There's a special exclusive Damon Smith. It's like a little dwarf wizard. And the only place that you could get it previously was if you visited Warhammer World and got it at that store. You can't get it online. But that kind of stuff they're going to have here. So I was able to pick that up. That was pretty cool. I was like, oh, cool, because I'm probably never going to go to Warhammer World. I'd like to, but it's probably not going to happen. And so I was able to pick that up. And you can also see here are this new Space Marine heroes. It's kind of like the blister packs of those heroes that they are starting to carry. Now, as we start to enter the cafe and the game area, I just wanted to show you a couple of things before we got into showing you the tables and things. They'll have lots of events coming, and they got a big sign here of all the events that are coming in the next few months. And so it's going to be a cool spot to, maybe plan trips and things like that. So definitely, check them out on Facebook if you're going to be down in Dallas. Like, hey, is there going to be some kind of a tournament or event I can check out? And here in this, these cases here are going to be some of the constructed and built Forge World models. And so this is really cool to see these, kind of in the flesh, and you kind of see what you're going to get and what they look like and how big they are. So for example, here's the Dread Saurion and the Morngul and all that kind of stuff. And there's the, Colossal Squig and all kinds of crazy stuff. And they have some of the, like the giant Tau, whatever these are called. I don't know what Tau stuff is, but, here's the Chaos Dwarves. That's one of the armies that I've been collecting. And they have some of the really big, giant 40K things like the Thunderhawk gunship and what's the other ship called? All these different things. some of the cool Tyranid pieces. And so it's just really cool to see some of those big tanks and things, and all that kind of in the flesh to give you a real good sense of how big those pieces are, and just check them out. And before we get in the cafe, I just wanted to jump ahead and show you a couple of the walls that they have here. So this one wall, they have a lot of these sort of almost like little cosplay pieces, but these big constructions of like a Tau helmet or Eldar helmet, and they have these cool swords and things that they've built up, and just kind of aligning the walls along with some of the giant Space Marine statues. And then over on this other wall, they have some artwork. You can actually purchase the artwork there. And so they have some of the more quote unquote historic, scenes and imagery that they've had, throughout the years there. So that's a pretty cool little thing. Like they had the Nagash and Stormcast, and then the indicative Horus Heresy art and all that kind of cool stuff. So that was cool to see that you could go and purchase some nice looking artwork if you wanted. And then here you can see the cafe. So it's just kind of like having a little Starbucks built in. They have, sodas and coffees and macchiatos and all that kind of stuff. And you can get snacks and things right in there. And then they also have a small little board game library. So some of the board games they publish, you can check these out and play them on the tables and stuff. And if you want to feel like playing a board game. And they got a couple of little spots for seating, and then of course all of these tables that you can play on. And they have, Mick told me they have tons and tons and tons of terrain. So when they do a tournament, they'll have terrain that's very, sort of balanced for competitive play. And they'll set them up and make them, as identical as they can and all that stuff. And then they also have, they can do anything thematically really with all of these different pieces. And they're always on their realm of battle board, so that there's nice little hilly areas and cool painted surfaces and everything. And obviously they've just probably got thousands of pieces of terrain in the back and stuff. So that was really cool to see. And now you'll see some of the 40K tables that we were playing Kill Team. These set of tables that you're looking at here were set up. They typically do Kill Team stuff on Thursdays, but so they still had everything set up perfectly for us. And then we got 6 games of it, and then there was another game with a couple of folks that just came in because they like to come in on Fridays and play Kill Team because of their schedule. So that was really cool. And then here, this is cool. I don't know what they were doing with this, but it's this giant multi-table sort of trench warfare thing. I should have asked them what it was set up for, but it was just cool to see a huge long table like that. And a little Age of Sigmar table, and here we're seeing our friend the Salamander, judging and making sure nobody cheats. And they got this little shelf back here. They can throw extra terrain if you need to pull out a realm gate or something. Now this piece of terrain was my favorite. I don't know what this is. I feel like I've seen this before, but it's like this giant cargo spaceship. You can see they took some of the Munitorum stuff and the Mechanicus stuff and built like a huge freighter or something on that. That's a little 4x4 table. And then here we have this kind of oxidized Space Marine looking fellow there. So he's just kind of overseeing the whole process. And there you can see the kind of a view of with the Blood Angel in the background there, and some of the other tables and stuff. And here, once we got set up and playing, like I said, we played each 2 games of Kill Team. It was really fun. Myself, I was there, and Jamie Keggy from the Secret Cabal, he'd also played some Kill Team before, and so we ended up teaching, Lincoln Damhurst, he's from BoardGameGeek.com, was there. I played a game with him, and then I played another game with Chaz Marler from Paradise, and so they were able to learn how to play Kill Team, and then finally Marty from Rolling Dice and Taking Names and Rodney from Watch It Play were there. And so everybody was super excited. Everybody had a great time. As you can see, the tables are just gorgeous. They're outstanding. And so we were able to play some of the, I grabbed some missions out of the competitive play, the Nova Pack. And so we played we didn't play with secret objectives or anything, but it was a good kind of learning game to play. And I brought a couple of painted up armies. I brought Gene Stealer Cult, which Chaz played a couple of games of. I had a Death Watch team. Marty was playing my Death Guard team, and so he had fun with that. And then Jamie had Necrons that he had brought, and then they were kind enough to give us some Primaris Ultramarines to play with as well. for Rodney and Lincoln. So they played with those. So we had a nice diverse set of teams to play with, and it was really fun. And the other folks who were there, they were super friendly and helpful, and the hospitality in general was over the top. So it was really great. We all had just a fantastic time. Of course, we were able to get snacks and stuff and keep us fed and hydrated and keep our blood sugar where it should be. And so it was super, super fun to just get there and play. And I could see, if you're local to this area, this would just be a great kind of local game store to play at. Now, this last tidbit, I didn't even notice when we first got there, but you can see these are painted by Duncan Rhodes as he painted them on Warhammer TV. And here's the thing, like you're looking at them through this glass case, there's some reflection and stuff. And this stuff in person, it looks even better than what you're seeing here and then what Duncan actually shows you on the videos. Like, it just goes to show you, it gave me some kind of like little bit of faith, because like when I take pictures of my own minis, I'm like, man, sometimes they don't look as good, on the camera. And I try to get like the lighting right and the contrast set right. But there's something about when you see them in the flesh like that, and it's like, man, Duncan's even better than he looks like on YouTube. So another thing is they had these two armies from the 90s. There's one, Blood Angels from 96, and then another one, a Space Wolf one from 1994, which is when I graduated high school. I'm like, but it's just really cool to see. I'm like, how did they do this back then? Because they didn't really like have washes and stuff, I don't think. So it's just cool to see these old armies like this. And like, I'm not a nostalgia, sentimental kind of person, but it was just kind of cool to see sort of the evolution of the models and things like that. Oh, and then there was this Chaos Army. And I think this is Archeon right here. And I was like, oh, that looks like Archeon. But you look at that model and then his model now, it's like just crazy how different things have changed and everything. And I still kind of like some of these old models. They're pretty cool. I thought that was a cool little type of thing that they had there. So anyway, I just wanted to give you kind of a tour and a walkthrough, and just, if you ever get down there and you're into Warhammer, definitely check the place out. Mick was super friendly. All the staff was super friendly, and just, they were there if you had questions and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a great, open, fun place to play. And I know we all went down there for Board Game Geek Con, but a lot of us were saying this was kind of like the highlight of the trip. Just, getting out and playing with some of our friends that, we don't always get a chance to hang out and stuff. And I really appreciate everybody coming out and having a good time. And that'll definitely be a day I don't forget, hanging out with all my friends here. And anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick tour of that, and definitely check it out if you get the chance. Thanks.